Sorry. Meeting tomorrow. And then I'm working on the course. I'm gonna have to develop it. You're right. Like the browser. Yeah, I usually catch it out after like tier three. Maybe not like the exact start, but like
Yeah.
it's like right now. I'm from Columbus. Well, things like I was walking on the like it's fine. Yes. I want to add right to like right, do you not you've been there. So people don't. You are. Like, that figured out. Oh, it's lost. You have to like, yeah. Like, dude, I feel like that. You're a chicken, you're fun. Only for you. Levi's fires. Yep. So yeah.
It's your
I never. I worked for Bio.
Then are you guys okay? Kelly, are you guys ready? Anthony, I'm just waiting a thumbs up for you. So,
That's my favorite thing to do.
That coat off, all the borders. I know a lot more and use.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not feel like. What I do is like, can you talk to your region? You know, kind of sides.
yeah, I'm trying to delete it.
Because I know the person that I want to talk to, his name is Hater. I can show you.
I don't see the YouTube video.
That's all.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, perfect.
Hey, senators, will you please make sure your mics are off?
I don't have good leads.
Okay.
And I did. They're like, hey.
Okay. The meeting has called to order for the Student Senate Business Meeting, November 21st, 2024. The Director of Administration, Kelly Gonzalez, will be doing roll call.
All right. Regent Adiam. Vice President Ramirez.
Here.
Chief Ostick. Director Nguyen. Director Lizey.
Here.
Director Lasso.
Here.
Director Mai.
Here.
Director Hammond. Coordinator Irizarry Gums.
Here.
Senator El Roxy.
Here.
Senator Norby.
Here.
Senator Jimenez Avalos. Senator Calderon Palacios.
Here.
Senator Benitez.
Here.
Senator John. Senator Brady.
Here.
Senator Gomez.
Here.
Senator Hirschman Harding.
Here.
Senator Rangel.
Here.
Senator Vaughn,
Here.
Senator Rye,
Here.
Senator Valladares,
Here.
Senator Piper,
Here.
Senator Lopez, Senator Jatampour, Senator Meister,
Here.
Ambassador Eyeshide,
Here.
Ambassador El Rife.
Here.
Awesome. Our first item of business is the reading and approval of old minutes. On the first call email, I did show you the old meeting minutes, but Director Gonzalez did share an updated version. Director Gonzalez, is there any like major changes that the Senate should know?
I
About-
just want to apologize because I completely shared the wrong one. But on the very, like the newest version, you should have a detailed summary of what everybody said. Yeah, that's the main difference. It's just that is a lot better. It's edited now. Sorry about the mistake, but I hope that you all had a chance to look through it and it is good enough to be submitted.
Therefore, if you guys want to, I am seeking a motion to adopt the updated minutes. So I can put this on the UNO SharePoint. Senator Meister,
Point of clarification, just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we're talking about considering these new minutes for approval rather than the old minutes, or are you asking for a motion to approve the revised submission and just consider it as the one we received? Question mark.
yes, the second option.
Okay.
Senator Meister,
Motion to approve the revised copy of the minutes that we were provided.
Senator Piper, there's this
Oh, I was just seconding.
seconded by Senator Piper. Now we're on to a period of discussion. Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. And then since now we have these minutes to consideration, now there is any discussion on the approved minutes from November 7th. Senator Meister,
We just motioned to approve the revised minutes, so
Oh,
we
okay.
closed out consideration of them.
so we have voted on the minutes already. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so our next item of business is the approval of the agenda. Senator Calaton Palacios,
Seek a motion to update the resolution on fair and equal treatment for campus workers. The revised copy was already sent in an email to all senators, ambassadors, and I think directors as well.
for the updated resolution. Should be this one. Is there a second to approve this resolution that was previously shared by Director Lacey? Senator Piper? Seconding it? Okay, now we're on to a period of discussion for the motion. Senator Meister,
From conversations with Director Lizzie, and please let me know if you'd like me to expend my speaking time to you. But it sounds like there was a significant amount of intentionality with trying to gather additional perspectives. To
Yeah.
integrate into a revised form of the resolution to ensure that it just had the most broad-based conceptualization for supporting students while also getting feedback from different stakeholders in that process. So my understanding from speaking with the director
is that the revised version of the resolution represents a just more collectively engaged process. And that would bring something to our consideration that would integrate feedback from different stakeholders that had just critical conceptualization feedback of the initial draft of the resolution. It would give us the best position in the present moment on
Yeah.
what different positions of administration, students, and student representatives have regarding the issue.
Is there any other discussion for the motion of the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then in the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Is there any additional discussion on the approval of the agenda? Senator John,
I motion to add the student court justice appointment of Mohammed Farah Mohammed.
is there seconded by Senator Piper? Is there any discussion to add the appointment of student publication or student court justice? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the appointment for student court justice has been approved. Is there any other discussion for the approval of the agenda? Senator Rye,
I motion to table SR 24-25-14 so that Rules Committee can vote on the resolution prior to it being presented on Senate floor.
Senator Rangel,
Seconded.
seconded. Is there any discussion to table the resolution? Is that correct? Yeah, okay. Senator Benitez, we're tabling the resolution SR 24-25-014.
It's the QTS resolution, not warrants, right?
Okay, thank you.
Is there any discussion before we go to a period of voting? Senator Meister,
Point of clarification, would someone with more knowledge, just for the minutes, be able to expound upon why we're sending it back to rules, or just kind of
Point of clarification, would somebody with additional information on the tabling of the resolution just be able to provide some additional context for the minutes of why we're tabling this resolution at this time? While it's on consideration on the floor, just in case there may be like a concerned student member wondering why.
The resolution was not presented to Rules Committee before it being presented, and because it is a direct change to the bylaws, we need to present it to Rules Committee first.
is there any other discussion? Now we're on to a period of voting to table the resolution. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution has been tabled. Senator Rye,
I motion to suspend Part 10 of the amendments per the bylaws for the remainder of this meeting to present Resolution SR 24-16 to the Senate floor.
Information, which rule is that?
it's on the bylaws part 13 amendments. Here, I can pull it up too.
We can suspend that one, because last time we tried to, the chancellor sent back the thing we were trying to do and denied it. And said we could not move forward with it after we had approved it as a Senate. The chancellor herself, when it got to her desk, because she has to approve it, sent it back, so we weren't allowed to do that.
These are the policies, part 13 of the bylaws. Up here.
Point of order.
Yes, Senator Meister.
Historically, amendment of the bylaws has required pretty strict adherence to the articles of consideration for amendment. The main reason in part being due to historical precedent set by previous rule committees, wherein the amendment process was put in place so that rush amendments could not be provided in special session by the Senate without due consideration by the student body. It applies en masse to all possible amendments of the bylaws. Just wanted to give that as a possible contextualization for why that piece of documentation is in the bylaws.
Senator John.
This is a point of information, but is this version of the bylaws somewhere in the SharePoint?
It should be on the SharePoint.
Because
It's
what I was looking
on
at, oh, sorry.
Standing committee, legislative documents. Oh, here it is. Okay. Go under, SharePoint, government documents. And then bylaws. And then right. I wonder if these are just. Oh,
Yeah,
Senator
'cause this
Hirschman
is-
Harding. Oh,
Sorry, I was on the SharePoint earlier and I was looking at this version and it like stopped at part 10 and part 10 was the amendments section.
oh, okay.
Because that's why I got confused in your email. You said part 13 and I was like, but there is no part 13.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at the red line bylaws that was approved by the Senate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can put the red line version on the SharePoint. Senator Hirschman Harding.
I'll be honest, we got into a pickle and a half for not doing the open forum part of like the necessary part for updating bylaws. Because we had our big rules change that like they spent tons of time on and they got fully approved by us. And then it got all the way sent back because we hadn't done all of this, like the having the open forum, putting it in like publicly accessible spots, things like that. And so it got sent all the way back, which is why we had the rules proposal again at the start of this year, even though it was approved at the end of last year, was because we didn't comply with this portion. So I worry that even if we decide to suspend this rule and don't have that, once we try to move it further up the chain the way that it has to, they're just going to send it right back to us or hold it longer because we didn't do it.
Senator Ryan.
Point of clarification, Vice President Ramirez, legal counsel said that they would approve the amendments if Senate approves them today.
It's a long process, especially like presenting the bylaws to legal counsel. They still yet to approve it. So there's a big, they still yet to approve the.
Just to
bylaws.
clarify, from my understanding with my conversation with Region Down, she said legal counsel wanted to update the agency definitions.
Mhm.
And this is why the resolution is being presented to define the agencies clearly so that the bylaws can be presented on December 6th.
There has been some recent updates about the broad-based definition and the bylaws presented on December 6th. It has not seek approval in the executive committee. Therefore, it's not going to be presented in December 6th in the Board of Regents. So that's updates. Yeah, those are updates. Senator Meister.
Just echoing previous sentiments stated regarding the potential implications of bypassing the amendment clause. If we are to bypass the amendment clause, that is well within the rights of the Senate, at least during my conceptualization of the bylaws during my time on the Senate previously. However, that doesn't mean that some downstream process couldn't implicate itself and then cause potential rejection of the bylaws. Like you were mentioning, Vice President, I think that there are multiple iterative steps to review with different quality controls on how we submit possible amendments to the bylaws. And I guess I would just encourage the body to conceptualize the bylaws as like the highest level governing document we have access to direct amendment to. So when we are making direct amendments to the bylaws, they're given additional considerations by outside parties. Okay. Can you hear me better? You're okay. So I guess the big question is on the floor, whether or not to temporarily suspend this part for the duration of the meeting. And we've discussed possible implications for what could happen if that occurs. Does anybody have any additional considerations for that?
Well, I saw Senator Benitez first.
Okay, so point of information. First of all, what exactly are we trying to do in suspending these rules? Is it just basically being able to go in and change the bylaws?
Senator John.
Yeah, basically, like we have like rules committee and like Regent Adidam like worked on a resolution that's changing the definition of the agencies and the bylaws to fit that like broad-based criteria that they were talking about in the like audit report, and like the one that they said the agencies don't meet. This resolution is trying to change the definition so they do meet them, like in that sense. So like suspending the amendments would allow us to vote on that right now instead of having to wait like 2 more weeks or another week to have an open forum to then vote on it.
Senator Hirschman Harding.
I was gonna say, I think part of the further clarification is, so it's that first chunk there where it's not just the fact that we have to have the open forum, but we have to also have it on campus media. So like specifically, like one of the requests that the chancellor made last time was like through the gateway or the office, I should say. I don't know that it was her directly. And it has to be the 2 times within the 3 weeks prior to the date of the forum. So it would just push back the resolution itself pretty considerably, because we would have to have at least 3 weeks before the forum, then the forum would have to happen, and then we could vote on it. But this specific chunk of text is something that has gotten us in a pickle the last time we tried to update the bylaws, because we failed to notice and do that part of it before. And so it passed with us with no problem, just because there was, some kind of miscommunication there. And it went further up the chain that it has to pass because it's a bylaws change, and got denied. And then the denial process caused an even further delay. And then we had to have the open forum, and we had to do the 3 weeks of advertising. So the only risk that I see that we could run into is if we were to suspend this, because it is a big delay, and I don't love the idea that we'd have to delay this further because we should be talking about it. If we pass it anyway and people above us send it back to us, we would still then have to do the 3-week waiting period for all of the campus media, have the open forum, and then swing it back around.
It's within 3 weeks, so we could technically like have it 2 weeks when we come.
Okay.
to Another Senate meeting. I think it's more like the 2 times within 3 weeks before.
Okay. Good clarification. But yes, I think that's my only worry, is that even if I don't disagree with the fact that I want to get this done more quickly, if they send it back to us, we still have to do this, and we will have already had to have delayed the change in the verbiage through the approval process. So we might be double delaying ourselves. And that's my only worry, because I don't disagree with the fact that I want this done more quickly. And I kind of don't mind the idea that maybe the open forum isn't the most ideal way to get feedback on this anyway. But my worry is that we have had issues before with, as it goes up the chain of command, they have gotten upset that we haven't done this and sent it back to us, which caused at the time a 3-month delay in us getting our bylaws approved. So that's my only concern, is that if we try to suspend this, we might agree with it, but the people above us might not be thrilled by it.
Okay, another point. I don't know if anybody saw Director Bailey's email, but there seem to be a lot of revisions. Wouldn't it be kind of nice to push it back until next Senate meeting and try to get within those 3 weeks, just so we also have enough time to revise it in a way so that it helps the agency directors and stuff like that, and the agencies themselves, and try to kind of find a consensus like wording, since a lot of what her recommendations seem to be like were just mostly wording wise, so it can like we can fall under the umbrella of it. Wouldn't it be best to kind of push it back enough to do that?
From my understanding, is that if we do not suspend the rules of the bylaws, it will have to be within 3 weeks of the day of the open forum. So it will have to happen during the spring semester. Because our next business meeting and our last business meeting of the fall semester will be December 5th. Another option is probably doing like an emergency Senate meeting, but ultimately it's like your guys' decision if you guys want to have an emergency Senate.
Point of order, I think Senator John actually Senator John actually clarified that point for me. We think that that verbiage is not saying that there has to be the 3-week period in which those 2 advertisements are happening. It's just that those 2 advertisements have to happen within 3 weeks of the forum. So we're saying I can't advertise for it now and hold the forum in 6 months because that's
Yeah.
not considered adequate. Yeah, like within the 3 weeks. So I think that was a clarification that Senator John made for me that was helpful. So we could theoretically, I think, hold open forum next week, but week after Thanksgiving break, have the open forum Monday, have the meeting on Thursday. And as long as that happens, we would be good. We would just have to have the open forum before the next Senate meeting so that we can get that feedback before approving it.
But we're already within a 3-week period. If we start advertising it now, like it's still meeting now.
We're still good.
Senator Meister.
When we wrote that specific piece of the bylaws, that was the intention as well, that you could have some flexibility so that it wasn't so heavily prescriptive that it couldn't be amended. But again, it was trying to achieve the same thing that the senators were talking about up front in terms of ensuring that we weren't far in advance of a change, notifying the student body one time and then not discussing it. And then several months later, once possible interest in the potential issue or question of bylaw change had subsided, that we would then propose something possibly very significant in terms of changes. So that window is a time where, as long as you achieve that 2-point mark in terms of frequency, that you should have sufficient coverage of the issue in order to hold the open forum.
Senator Calaton Palacios.
Going back to what Senator Benitez was saying, I understand that Joanna's comments are important, but just a point of clarification from Senator Wright, this has to be presented at the next Board of Regents, correct? Because if it does, then it kind of has to be passed today or the next Senate meeting, which would be Thursday, December 5th, right?
Senator Rai.
I'm going to defer this back to you, Vice President. You said that the bylaws will not be presented during December 6th. Okay.
No, it will not be presented December 6th.
Can we know why or?
After my conversation or during my conversation with Regent Adidam, she has informed me that the broad-based definition has not been approved by the executive committee, which ultimately affects the bylaws and the legal counsel. Therefore, both of the definitions, both of the documents, the broad-based definition and the bylaws will not be presented December 6th due to like the decision that was made in the executive committee for the Board of Regents. Senator Ryan.
Because the bylaws will not be presented on December 6th, then I do not see the point of going further with this motion. I think we can have the open forum, listen to all the directors, agency directors, hear them out, hear the student body out. The only reason why I seek the motion was because I thought that we were still presenting the bylaws on December 6th, and I wanted to get this in to legal counsel before they met.
Saying no.
Is there any further discussion?
We still have to vote, but.
Point of order.
Yeah, there wasn't like on the motion. Well, it's on the spirit of discussion.
I withdraw my motion.
Withdraw.
Withdraw it.
Okay. So if there's no motion, now we're still on the approval of the agenda. Discussion. Senator Ryan,
I motioned for SR 242516.
what were we saying, tabling?
Oh, yeah, table it, sorry.
Okay. Is there a second? Senator Brady, seconded by Senator Brady. Now we're on to a period of discussion. Senator Meister.
Please.
Yeah. Yes. Now, is there any further discussion? Okay, now we're on to a period of voting to table the resolution. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Then all those in favor, all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the resolution has been tabled. Is there any other discussion on the agenda? Senator Calaton Palacios.
I would like to seek a motion to add the appointment of the individual that's seeking for Student Publication Board, Andrea Lopez.
Is there a second? Senator Meister. Now we're on to a period of discussion. Is there any discussion on the appointments? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Is there any other discussion on the agenda before we go to a period of voting on the full agenda? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting on the full agenda. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the agenda has been approved. Now, our next item of business is open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Is there a microphone? Awesome.
Hello, I am here to just speak about you guys' resolution around ensuring safe treatment of student workers. I was a student worker here at Mammal Hall until this past Monday, which was my last day. I quit because my friends were being harassed by our director where we worked. We went to the assistant dean of the college. We went to the dean of the college. Nothing was done. There isn't anything being done. And I assume this is also probably happening to other student workers around the campus. There is no HR like a different business. There is no one to go to. There is no repercussions for treating student workers badly. And I believe this needs to change. Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else here for open forum?
Hello, I am Connor Jensen. I was a technology assistant on campus. I was a technology assistant on campus, and I would share just a little short summary of what happened to me. During my time on campus, I was always excited about the work that I was completing, which included design studies, programming tools, which helps further my professional career, and something that I am very proud of. But however, after raising concerns about unfair workloads and expectations among all of the other workers, my supervisor or the director Drastically reduced my responsibilities, tasks that were central to my role, essentially eliminating most of my contributions and growth there. Shortly after, I was asked not to report hours spent on work that I did complete. I brought up the concerns about being paid for those hours that I worked, which was a legally protected action. And then within a week, I was terminated for reasons I believe were pretextual, masking retaliation, which left me disheartened and devalued. And then unfortunately, my experience isn't unique. The management culture in the workplace has fostered an environment where advocacy is met with retaliation and unequal treatment, reflecting broader systematic inequalities faced by student workers across campus. And despite criticisms, no clear actions have been taken to protect student workers or address these inequalities. I believe that this resolution is by a step in towards creating protections for grievances processes and equitable employment practices. I urge the Senate to support this resolution to ensure all student workers are treated fairly, valued for their contributions, and empowered in their roles.
Is there anyone else here for open forum? Okay, if there's nobody here for open forum, then open forum is officially closed. Okay, our next item of business is guest speaker. We're going to be hearing from Chief Justice Jeanette Castro-Gomez about student courts. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it up.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, gosh.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeanette Castro Gomez, and I am the current Chief Justice for Student Court this year. So these are your justices at the moment. So me, the Chief Justice, then we have Justice Bernal and Justice Freeman. You have seen them around campus. You know that they're in court. So essentially, you may be wondering what the student court is. So in recognition of the necessity for an impartial judicial body to promote accountability, fairness, and trust, there shall exist a student court to provide judicial oversight for the rest of the Student Government Association. So we basically deal with 5 main things. We do attendance appeals, judicial interpretations, judicial reviews of actions, traffic appeals, and election commission appeals. Now, certain cases are by default open or closed. So for example, when you guys submit an attendance appeal, if you don't want your name or your situation out in the public, just submit it as closed. Or keep it as open if you don't mind it being open to the public. Same thing with judicial interpretations and judicial reviews of actions are by default open. They will always be open to the public, so your information will always be disclosed. For traffic appeals and election commission appeals, those will always be closed, so your information will always remain confidential when you submit those. So attendance appeals, I have those first because that's mostly what we get from you guys. So with attendance appeals, each senator can accrue up to 3 attendance points. With that, if you accrue at 4, that is cause for immediate removal. If you get to immediate removal, you do not get an impeachment trial, you just get removed automatically. So just a fair warning there. And an appeal may be granted if the attendance appeal falls under the death of a family member, genuine illness, transportation difficulties, religious holidays, school work-life balance, and other reasons. These are submitted by a case-by-case basis. With attendance appeals, I do urge the more evidence that you have, the better, just because we don't have to request additional information from you guys. And you're always more than welcome to give an oral testimony to the court if you would like to do that instead of submitting physical evidence. Now for judicial reviews of actions. So a judicial review of action may be submitted to the student court if an organ or actor of the Student Government Association does not uphold or violates UNO's governing documents. This is the bylaws and the policy index. So an example of this could be a violation of ethical guidelines imposed by the policy index. So anyone can submit this. You can do this for a fellow senator, fellow ambassador. With judicial reviews of actions, these do constitute a hearing. And at the hearing, you are able to provide whatever evidence you want, as well as an oral testimony. With judicial interpretations, in the event that an organ or actor of the Student Government Association needs further clarification regarding the wording of a governing document, the student court will be asked to provide a judicial interpretation. Please note that student court is the sole interpreter of the bylaws and the policy index. This can be done. You can send me a quick email saying, hey, I don't really understand the wording of that document. Can you help me? I will be more than happy to do so. So if you're still unfamiliar or haven't submitted a case yet this school year, all cases can be submitted to the student court through MathSync under 2024-2025 student court case submission form. And if you have any difficulty with that, you can also shoot me an email. But cases should include the following: the name of the submitter / the complainant, the detailed narrative, again, the more the better in your narrative, and supporting evidence. Again, it's highly encouraged to have as much evidence as possible. And again, if we can't reach a decision based on the information you provided in your original case submission, I will email you to get supplemental information. However, if I email you and you do not respond, more than likely your appeal will be denied. With case rulings, so all ruling reports are uploaded to the student court SharePoint on the same day its hearing is held. So with attendance appeals, for example, the day we have our student court meeting, the same day I will post the decision on your case. So if you're wondering how to find your ruling report, just click on the Student Government Association SharePoint, click on student court, and then cases and rulings, and it should be under the SC 24-25 cases folder. And you can also see cases from past school years as well. But just find your case number. And then all rulings from the student court are final and are not subject to appeal. Does anyone have any questions?
Is there a like a time, a deadline that you have to submit your appeal by?
If it's an emergency situation, by 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you guys for your time.
So our next item of business is reports from officers. Since Regent Adidam is not here at the moment, this is her report. And if you guys have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. And then, is there any questions for Regent Adidam? So for my report, for the last circuit meeting, I did present like a new timeline. Our last Senate business meeting will be on December 5th. On December 5th, yes. And this one was going to be hosting the State of SG address. And I did remember finally the change that I made for the spring semester. We will not be having a student government meeting on the first week of school. We're going to be having the first student government meeting on the second week of the spring semester. So that is the change that I just remembered. And I can upload the timeline on the SharePoint for everyone to access. And then, yes, for professional headshots, I do really encourage you all to attend one of the professional headshots in the Eppley Administration Building. This will be really useful, especially for marketing. And I do want to share these photos with Director Mai, just so we're able to use these photos for the new newsletter that Director Mai has created. It's going to be on December 3rd and December 5th. There are different timelines, and it's going to be on the Eppley Administration Building 113. And then I was working with the orientation folders with Director Hammond. I'll let Director Hammond be able to provide more information about that, but I'm really excited for the final results. And then I do want to meet with Chief Commissioner about Traffic Controls Commission, just because I'm really interested about what's happening in that commission, is to provide more transparency and be able to communicate with the Student Senate about what is happening in Traffic Controls Commission. So that is what I'm planning on doing. And then for the Regent Adidam did assign me a task that I want to follow. she assigned me to do like a data analysis for the data collection for the resources survey and just be able to present, able just to see like what is happening and what we have found with the results. So that is like with my updates. And with the new information that was presented by Chief Justice Castro Gomez, if you guys are interested in knowing how many attendance points you guys have, I do have a record on all the attendance points if you guys are interested in how many attendance points you guys have. So I do have that information. And lastly, there is a couple of meetings I'm meeting with administration, especially with the agencies and the audit. So that will be like more information about what's happening. And I also did receive more information about what is not considered a purchase in accordance with the audit that I can also share with you all, and the questions that were answered by the group of people that attended these meetings. So more information can come from that too. And that should be all for my report. What questions do you guys have for me? And then Chief of Staff's Ostic's report is here. Unfortunately, he is unable to attend today's meeting. Any questions for Chief of Staff Ostic? I will do my best to answer. Awesome. All right, so our next item of business is going to be Director of Administration Gonzalez. May we have your reports?
Hello, everyone. So just to get it on your radar, I will also probably be sending out an email sometime soon, probably tomorrow, regarding how many points I have on my attendance record. We have the same one, so there shouldn't be any errors there. Just to make sure that you guys are aware of it and that if you think that something is wrong, please let me know. But yeah, and then I also wanted to bring up eliminate points, which is not on here. A lot of you have already completed your points, which thank you so much. I have to stamp your your little ticket. So if you think you completed your point, please come up to me and I'll sign it for you. Besides that, there's kind of been a shift to what you can do to gain an eliminate point. Right now, the agencies need a lot of support. So if you attend an event, I will give you a point. So please make your greatest effort to go to those things. And I appreciate the work that you're putting into what you're doing. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any question for Director Gonzalez? Awesome. May we have Director of DIA Wynn's report?
Okay, so I'm working with Chloe, Kelly, and also Carlos to boost NDA recruitment. So we just had a meeting with Kevin as well. I've been in contact with Marina about that. So yeah, and then AMS held their Indigenous Foods workshop last night, so that was fun attending. And then also met with Jose and ISS advisor Michelle with Chloe Tuesday. So trying to figure out how to strengthen ISS's connection within SGA and the other agencies as well. And then do you have any questions?
May we have Director of Finance Lycé's report?
Yes, hello. So there's been a lot of audit meetings last Thursday and Friday. On Thursday, we had meetings with the agency directors kind of going over what an interim purchasing plan would look like. Then on Friday, we kind of met with more of like the administrators of UNO to kind of gather more questions and kind of, make a game plan for like here forward. That game plan did include was like the hope of redefining broad base and having that on the December 6th, but with learning that news tonight, that's not moving on. We originally were going to not go through with an interim process because we were hoping that it was going to be voted on the 6th and adopted. But with that, I will talk with Regent Adidam kind of about that new process and what that will look like. Yeah, any questions?
May we have Director of Leadership Development Losses report?
So right now, in FYLC, we're just brainstorming, some ideas for our FYLC event in the spring. They decided they wanted to do a talent show where the proceedings would go to some sort of charity, outside of Omaha well, not outside of Omaha, in Omaha. But we still need to workshop some of the details and then more brainstorming details, hopefully next week. So any questions?
Director of Marketing Mize report.
Why, hello. Okay, so the newsletter got sent out, I think Wednesday, no, or Tuesday. So thanks to Brian for helping put that together. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. What else? I'll probably post tomorrow on Instagram, probably. Yeah. Also, more importantly, near the end of this semester, but for next semester, we got to get an election commission so we can start running the election for student government, because if we don't have an commission, we don't have an election. So the application form is on MapSync. I think it closes by December 5th. No, that's not. No, we want people to apply by December 5th so we can at least get some stuff running. So if you know people who want to be on commission for the election, get them to apply, please. So yeah, again, form is on MapSync. I will take no questions.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I just have a couple of updates. So for the first one, like Vice President Ramirez said, we're working on orientation folders for new senators that are appointed. It's just gonna be like a one-stop shop for everything. I know the SharePoint can kind of be overwhelming, and you obviously can use this resource as well, but it's just gonna have like all the information that they may need, especially because since they're just now appointed, they didn't get to go to the workshop that you guys did at the beginning of the year for how Senate works. So currently working on that. Second update is the publication board. I'm still trying to find people. I need 3 more people to send to the chancellor, and then she can pick her 3 out of the 6. So if you know literally anyone, I would appreciate any names, truthfully. So yeah, I just need 3 more people for that. And then my last update, hopefully tomorrow, if I can convince Director Mai to post it, there will be an SABC commissioner post up, because we have to get student at large commissioners for that as well. So once it's posted, if you could repost it to your stories on Instagram, that would be lovely. So thank you.
Is there any questions for Director Hammond? May we have Coordinator of Student Wellness, Arizari's comments report?
Yes, I finished announcing the servers also have themes. I have basically every group divided. So that's done. I'm just making it into a more of a Canva presentation so anybody can access it and just giving out to the people that want it. I attended the first RSO council meeting. That went really well. Very excited for where that will go. And it was very exciting seeing student org leaders attend the meeting and just say their ideas on how they would like UNO to change and improve for the better of our students. I did some meetings with some student leaders because of my mental health, and I am getting better, and I'm rescheduling those meetings as we speak. And I'm very excited to meet with those leaders and discuss more how we can better on this wise. I met with Noah Long just to speak some business about the RSM Council, and also business just all around about the UNO student community in regards to some recent events here at SGA. And also, well, as part of DEAI committee, basically we are now engaging with multiple leaders throughout the NU system, specifically and DEI, other committees around the NU system. So we contacted Lincoln. We already got some reach out from them. They really want to meet with us, and we really want to meet with them. And I'm really excited about that. We're currently trying to get in contact with UNK's committee. The specific person, if you know anybody with a UNK student email, we really need it to be able to contact this person. Basically, is Hernan Vargas. He is a committee chair for DEI for UNK student government. If anybody knows somebody that has a UNK student email, I would really thank you, so I can pass along my message that I have for him specifically. And then yes, and then UNMC's reach out is going to be this Saturday. But yeah.
Director Nguyen.
Is there any way we can pull up the Q&A doc for Senate to review
Is it
on the screen?
the audit that you're talking about? I can share it right now. Where's my nice? Where is it? In the meantime, is there any questions for Coordinator Irizarry Gums before I pull up the documents? I know I have it. That's so weird. Oh, okay, I found it. The questions and then the transactions. Okay. Would you guys like me to just share it through email? Do you guys want me to share it on the screen or both? Any recommendations? Director Wynn?
Can you go down to the bullet point that says from now until December sixth? So the question was, from now until December sixth, can agencies continue to purchase? Is the audit report a draft, or do we need to stop purchasing right now? And then basically they said, however, ongoing activities are the responsibility of UNO management. So however, if UNO management feels that activity clearly fits into the current Board of Regents policy, they could allow those expenditures.
UNO management. Is there a question? I can also share this with you as an email too.
This is only just to show that admin is not doing anything right now. So much with auditor saying that we don't need to, that the admin is that up to management to be able to approve those purchases if it fits within the policy.
Senator John.
What is UNO management? Like, what does that mean?
UNO, from my understanding, I'm not sure if Advisor Roseby wants to give clarification, but from my understanding, it's the UNO Division of Student Life and Wellbeing.
Correct, it's the dean's office. It's kind of, management is a collective name for different stakeholders that have kind of chipped in with guidance, from compliance to the business office to the dean's office, things of that nature. So when they refer to management, those stakeholders are involved, but heavily from our dean's office.
The documents have been shared. Is there any other questions before we go to our next item of business? May we have Budget Committee Chair Carlton Palacios report?
So last week and then the starting of this week, I had a couple meetings. First off, I had a meeting with Director of Finance Lacey on November 12th, just some general updates about what is going on with the audit, how can we best support our agencies as a budget committee, and then we're kind of just waiting on December 6th to see what is going to happen in general. And then on Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday, that I had a meeting with Kevin, corresponding budget committee, and again with the audit. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
May we have Civic Engagement Committee Chairs Civic Engagement Committee Chair Piper's report.
Hi, guys. Nothing too crazy. Me and the committee kind of just talked about some upcoming events that we could do. We have one project in mind that we're thinking about doing, which is like a hot chocolate exchange. Yeah, that is pretty much all that we have at the moment. But yeah, please let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns or ideas. So yes, thank you.
May we have DEIA Committee Chair Rangel's report.
Happy Thursday, everyone. I know my committee spoke with A.T. Miller, who is the Chief Diversity Officer. I wasn't able to attend that meeting just because of my job. But they spoke about some different things that are happening. For example, on NU campuses, UNMC just recently changed the name of their DEI office. The UNK's Chief Diversity Officer recently quit. Lots of staff and faculty and outside organizations such as the Omaha Chamber of Commerce support DEIA. And of course, DEIA supports and benefits everyone. When students of marginalized groups thrive, everyone thrives. I had some one-on-ones. I had a one-on-one with Teresa, very nice one-on-one with her, kind of giving me the rundown of what's going on, just with UNO. I had a one-on-one with Sierra. That was a check-in. I was supposed to go to the registered student organizations meeting. I want to do some workshops for scholarship programs such as Goodrich, TLC, and Honors, and other communities out there who might be interested in learning what student government has to offer for them. I'm going to be honest with you, life for me has been a little bit hectic just outside of my personal life. And I know that might feel that way now. So if you can, please reach out to people. They might need someone to talk to, especially for, the weeks we've been going through, and with finals coming up, life can feel a little bit chaotic. So just reach out, give someone a hug, take care of yourselves. If you're able to, connect with CAPS. But yeah, that's all I have for you. And if you have any questions, let me know.
May we have Outreach Committee Chairs Harrison Harding's report.
Hey, I know that I sent in a report, but I don't see it here, but I will summarize as best as I can. The biggest one is that we had a meeting with Library Dean, and there are continued meetings going on after that. He was very willing to look at the issue of the new library hours. We're trying to work on a way to get one of the floors of the library to be 24/7 access. That is going to be a much longer process though, because there would have to be actual construction done for the security measures to do that. So if that's done, he's trying to work it out with the senior vice chancellor, and then it'll be continued upward. That'll be a longer thing that we're working on though. And then the other thing that we're doing in the meantime is that the extended hours that exist for prep week and finals are going to happen sooner than they usually do. So out of hearing the concern that especially around that time of year, students need a safe space to be able to study and spend time on campus, we are going to have those extended hours happen a week sooner than they usually do, which is actually going to increase those hours by over 30 hours in total. I'm trying to find the exact time that is. So it's going to start December 6th is going to be the weekend before prep week is when our extended hours will start. So that'll be Monday through Thursday. The library will be open until 1 a.m. for those weeks until the end of the semester. And then I'm not sure what the weekend hours are, but I know that those weekdays we're going to be open until 1 a.m. and it's happening starting December 6th. So if you know other students, which I'm sure you must, please tell them that we're going to start those hours a week sooner than we normally do, because that's not usually the precedent. So people don't know about it. So just let people know that, starting essentially next weekend, I think, or next weekend, we will have those extended hours so that people can be completing projects, completing that sitting. It'll be all floors of the library are going to be extended to 1 a.m. for those weeks. And then the other part was members of the outreach committee were also working on the SGA newsletter and its formatting. That first edition came out this week. So, by the time you're reading it, go check it out. So go ahead and take a look-see at that. They did a lovely job. It looks great. And we'll have more updates with the library stuff as it comes. But for now, it's very hopeful because Lots of people are on board. We're just trying to figure out some of the logistics about the security of having a 24/7 access.
Is there any questions? May we have Rules Committee Chair's rise report?
We went through the bylaws after Regent Adidam pointed out, that some rewording needs to be done for the agencies. Those certain bylaws are there, hence the resolution that came out. We're gonna play by the ear with the next Board of Regents meeting and move on from there.
Is there any questions? May we have the SJ advisor, Sierra Roseby's report?
No updates at this time.
For our next item of business is unfinished business. We have SR 2425-015. Is there a proponent's? Oh, it is.
Hi, everybody. Vice President Ramirez and I have been working on this resolution for a little bit. We have ran it through the Rules Committee as well as Senator Piper and Senator Benitez. So we thought that we'd go ahead and bring it to you guys as well tonight. This essentially aims to address a bit of a gap within the current attendance policy within the policy index. As it currently stands, in Part 2, Rules of the Senate, Section 2.4, the policy index outlines specific circumstances that permit excused absences to include the death of a family member, genuine illness, significant and non-reoccurring transportation difficulties, non-reoccurring trips and meetings required by credit-bearing academic courses, and religious holidays. However, recent cases have shown that these guidelines are not comprehensive to reflect the real-life challenges that a lot of us here face, particularly in the areas of mental health and academic and socioeconomic pressures. So just to highlight the need for a more comprehensive policy, we can reference a lot of the student court cases that have been reviewed by them in the recent years. SC 2324-003, a senator's absence due to a family member's hospitalization was denied because it did not meet the criteria that is currently outlined in our policy index. And you can reference that in Appendix A. Similarly, in SC 2324-011, a senator dealing with significant personal stressors was denied their appeal as a policy lacks explicit provisions for cases of personal crises that senators are experiencing. And then lastly, SC 2324-015, a senator's mental health related absence was excused by the student court. However, the court urged that the Rules Committee revise the attendance policy to better support senators facing mental health challenges. So you can see that in Appendix C. And so this proposed revision essentially seeks to expand that attendance policy's current language to cover a wider range of justifiable circumstances for absences within the Senate, such as uncontrollable life circumstances, socioeconomic stressors, and also mental health crises. So by adding these categories, Kevin and I just aim to create a more supportive environment that recognizes the challenges that us as student leaders face and offer a little bit more flexibility when it's genuinely needed by us. So like I said, the new policy revision updates Part 2, Section 2.4 of the policy index to include 4 main categories for excused absences. This includes emergency reasons, which covers the death of a family member, the hospitalization of immediate family, close friends, and oneself, and significant transportation difficulties. Number 2 is physical reasons, covers genuine illness, which is already covered within the current policy index. Mental health reasons, which include uncontrollable life circumstances and socioeconomic stressors. And then lastly, any other justifiable circumstances such as non-reoccurring trips required by academic courses, religious observations, and participation in NCAA Division I athletes for student athletes. Kevin and I just want to clarify too, this revision does not intend to diminish our commitment to accountability and attendance within the Senate. Instead, it seeks to balance these expectations that we have with empathy and understanding to allow the Senate to handle unforeseen circumstances, both personal and academic obligations that we have to face without the penalty of possibly getting removed from Senate. So the Rules Committee, along with Senator Piper and Senator Benitez, as I said, reviewed and approved this attendance revision to ensure that the policy's new language and structure was clear and fair for us. And in adopting this revision to the attendance policy, we want to make sure that the Senate is feeling supported, valued, and empowered to fulfill their responsibilities within the body, even in times of personal hardship. So with that, I will take any questions that you guys might have, and Kevin can kind of put his input in as well. Alrighty, if there's no questions, then I'll pass it on to Kevin.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? And Senator Brady?
Honestly, I think with this entire resolution, this will be extremely beneficial for all of us, especially I know that with winter coming up, it could be kind of hard for certain individuals, and it can honestly, especially with finals as well, it just can really mentally be deteriorating. And so I think having this almost relaxed version to kind of cover a more broad base of like different means of what's the word? Of what is applicable to these different I've lost my words. People, situations, scenarios. I think this will be very beneficial for all of us. I think that's pretty commonly felt, is that this is going to be very beneficial for all of us, and that having this like expansion of terms will help us all in the long term.
Is there any discussion? Senator Meister?
I just wanted to take a moment to thank the authors and all those who contributed to this resolution. I think the idea of being the change that we want to see is something that's really symbolic in this resolution of it doesn't have to be the way it's been in terms of how we structure the ways that we design our policies, our procedures, our protocols as an organization. We can create space intentionally in the architecture of how we design ourselves to ensure that everyone can be present and feel affirmed in this space. So engaging intentionally in revision of our documents to include folks who may not have been covered under previous policies, but may need time away for reasons that just are things that we can embrace and that we can be conscious of and mindful of in the way that we word our documents, I think is something really beautiful. So thank you for putting this together.
I really appreciate this resolution just because in the past couple weeks, there has been a lot going on with my family personally, and some of it has taken a lot on my academics and just like the organizations I'm a part of. So I really do appreciate this happening, especially this resolution and anyone who took part of it. So that's all I got to say. But make sure you're also checking up on the people who might not be here all the time, just because they are students and they are humans first. So check up on them, make sure they're doing okay, or give them a hug if they want. So yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, I will like this in order to pass this resolution, it will require a 2/3 majority vote of the Student Senate to amend the policy index. Is there any discussion before we go to a period of voting? All right, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then is there anyone that abstains? Okay. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes 13-0. 0. So what is our next business? Oh, okay. So our next item of business is new business for the appointment of Student Publication Board Andrea Lopez. There is a video that she has sent out, and I will be sharing that right now. Alright. Oh, perfect. There. All right. All right. No. And if you have any questions for her, please send them to Director Hammond or I, and then we can get them back to you, the answers to your questions. Now we're on to a period of discussion for the appointment for the Student Publication Board. Senator Benitez.
Yes, I actually know Andrea. Me and her, we participate in Any STEM for You. We go mentor middle schoolers in STEM. So I've interacted with her a lot, and she is very nice. She's very caring to the children, and I feel that she would be a wonderful person for this role. She is very dedicated. She always shows up on time. She's always ready to teach about the very STEM subjects we're talking about, and she's just a great pick.
Is there any other discussions for the appointment for the Student Publication Board, Andrea Lopez? Before we go to a period of voting? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Andrea Lopez has been appointed to the Student Publication Board. Our next item of business is the appointment for Student Court Justice Ahmad Farah Mohammed. Is there a proponent speech? Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Farah. I'm excited to be here with everybody today. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm gonna describe myself a little bit for you guys. Before I came to UNO, I graduated at Omaha South High School, where I volunteered at the VA hospital and worked as a farm tech and a CNA at a retirement facility. As of now, I'm a Buffett Scholars and an honor student while majoring in biology and in hopes of becoming a doctor. The reason why I want to be a part of student government is because of its impact it has at the school and its community. And that's something I'd like to be a part of. I think this experience will help me in so many ways, such as interacting with my fellow students and problem solving as a group. I appreciate this opportunity I was given, and thank you, everybody.
Full period of question and answer.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Any questions about myself? No? All right. Thank you. Thank you again.
Is there any discussions for the Student Court Justice? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting, and then to appoint a Student Court Justice, it will require a 2/3 majority vote. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. He, in the opinion of the chair, has been appointed for student courts.
He's over there.
Awesome.
He said, I gotta go.
So our next item of business is SR 24-25-017, resolution on fair and equal treatment for students on campus workers. Is there a proponent speech? Yes, okay. Let me pull up the resolution that has been amended. It should be this one. Oh, no, that one.
Good evening. Today, I stand before you as someone who has walked in the shoes of a student worker, someone who understands the dedication, challenges, and sacrifices of working on campus, experiences that fuel our discussions and change in student government. Let us not only talk about change, let us be the change. Student workers are the backbone of our campus, ensuring operations run smoothly, supporting our academic and social pursuits, and helping our community thrive. Yet, as the testimonials in this resolution reveal, their invaluable contributions are too often met with not gratitude, but with unfair labor practices, discriminatory treatment, and a troubling lack of basic respect. This is a reality we must confront and change. As outlined in the resolution, student workers often face specific challenges like unreasonable workloads, inflexible scheduling, lack of benefits, discrimination, and harassment. These issues affect student workers' mental health, academic performance, and well-being. It is time to take a decisive action to address these concerns. I propose several concrete steps to address these issues through the resolution. Establish a dedicated student worker committee to amplify their voices, foster open and transparent communication channels, implement regular and constructive performance reviews, and provide consistent training for supervisors to ensure fair and equitable treatment. These actions will not only improve conditions for student workers, but also strengthen the foundation of our campus community. By enacting these measures, we can create an environment where every student worker feels valued and empowered. Passing this resolution sends a powerful message to the administration and the campus community. Student workers deserve dignity and fairness, regardless of their role or status. Their work is not just a job, but a stepping stone in their professional development. They deserve a safe, inclusive, and supportive environment. This is not just a student issue, it is a human issue. By advocating for our peers, we are shaping a future where fairness, equity, and respect are the norm, not the exception. I'd now like to highlight the words of a former Maverick, which are captured in the final 2 paragraphs of Appendix A. It is obvious to students that choices are being made to protect faculty over us, and it is beyond time that the student government be taken seriously about this. As a recent graduate who will inevitably increase the standing of our economics department at UNO by being admitted to a university's economic doctoral program, having published under the UNO affiliation in a top journal, and more I will inevitably accomplish as a former Maverick, one would think the university would act more in favor of its students. Faculty do not pay tuition, yet many of them are ruining students' lives because nothing is being done to ratify this very building to a reputation of level of success unmatched by its history. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back a little bit. Faculty do not pay tuition, yet many of them are ruining students' lives because nothing is being done to ratify this very blaring and pervasive problem. I am ashamed that the lab I spent 2 years of my life building to a reputation and level of success unmatched by its history, that it is floundering in the wake of the administration's choice to keep Supervisor 1 in this position, while they are evidently hurting its students. How many students have to sound alarms before the university acts? I've seen the financial reports, and now admission levels are down and the funding is a problem. Yet we are telling you from within the problems we as students are facing from undergraduate to graduate, and UNO refuses to listen. I wish I could look back at my time on UNO fondly, and for many reasons I can, but the truth is that I cried every single day during my last semester, including the day I walked out of the lab for the very last time. I received no thank you, no congratulations for graduating and being admitted to a doctoral program, nothing, end quote. As I conclude, I want to leave you with this question. How many voices must cry out before we truly listen? How many students must bear the weight of systemic inaction before we as a university choose to act decisively and justly? The future of our community and the memories our students carry with them depends on the answers we give today. Thanks. Sorry, are there any questions? Yeah. Can someone hand a mic back? Sorry. Thank you.
Just real quick, I can ask you about like the resolution, right? Like the okay.
Sure.
Just making sure. But like could you explain where is it? Quick, the student-led committee?
Yes, so with that idea kind of came about talking with a couple different senators, one of them being Senator Meister. The idea behind that is we would collaborate with the Maverick Student Employment Steering Committee, which I will say I have reached out to, and they are open to collaboration. They would advocate for student workers' needs and concerns directly to administration. They would monitor workplace conditions regularly, collaborate with administration to develop and implement policies that safeguard student workers' rights, promote equitable treatment, and provide resources, guidance, and support to student workers facing workplace challenges or seeking information. I cannot speak for what this committee plans on how to set that up, because that committee is dependent upon how you guys vote tonight. But I do think that this committee that the MSESC is willing to collaborate on us with will be very beneficial to the student body. Any other questions? Yeah.
Okay, so I know you just said that obviously the committee depends on how we vote tonight, but do you know by chance at the moment any type of regulations, where does that line end within the committee, and does that make sense?
Yeah, I said. Yeah, so I think that also kind of goes with the same thing. That is also going to be in the discussions on what this committee can do and what the committee can't do. And like I said, committee will be set up with the MSESC. So I mean, that's it's hard to say how that will happen or how everything will play out.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Now we're on to a period of discussion on the resolution. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Senator Meister?
I think that as previously discussed by the director, that the goal of the resolution is to provide a clear, articulatable response to concerns that have been elevated to the student government by students, not necessarily to be reactive to those concerns, but responsive to them, intentional in the way that we are, again, being the change that we want to see, creating actionable pathways for students to be involved in being a vehicle for change on campus, to interrupt historical patterns that students are identifying, but also to create an opportunity for systemic change. I think that in that way, it's a very progressive vehicle for us to possibly articulate a different story for participation of students in different spaces on campus that can hopefully change the dynamic so that the students who have experienced the types of concerns that they're disclosing in the appendix may not have replicated stories in other students. Again, I think this is an exciting opportunity for us to consider. One thing that I would like to propose in consideration of the resolution itself would be to maintain it in its present form, but to seal Appendix A, because historically, from a precedent standpoint, it's been atypical to have testimonials included in appendix. And in the future, that could be possibly identifiable based on key characteristics that are identified in the types of, say, bug fix that's being utilized, or researchers who came to visit a specific lab. So in protection of the students who provided their testimonials, while they can be utilized to inform the Senate, I'd recommend sealing the document and could provide a motion for that so that it can be used for Senate consideration, but then the resolution moves forward.
Senator Hirschbaum-Harding?
I'd say I agree with that point, because I think those testimonials are really important in our understanding of it, but I would hate for, even with names removed, for it to pose any risk for these people, especially with everything they've gone through. I think this is a beautifully written resolution. I think it's making lots of good points. It's thoroughly thought through. I like how organized our therefores are, and I agree with what they've said in there. But I do agree that anything we can do to further protect these students, especially after what they have gone through and what they've detailed, it is probably best to try and seal that further. My only concern is I don't know how the students themselves who have written the testimonials feel about it, because I would hate to seal it and then have them say that that was an important thing, that they have that, you know, out there and openly for other people to see as they're looking at this resolution. But I am concerned about some of the safety that goes into that, just to ensure that these students are protected in the future.
Senator Meister.
I definitely agree with that feedback. I think proactively we could seal, and then if for some reason the student wanted the testimonial to be reopened to the public eye, we could reconsider that motion at a later time in a later meeting. It's always possible for us to go retroactively back to any agendas, but proactively using preventative measures like you were discussing to ensure their safety and well-being at this time, discussing that with the students and then going from there.
Senator John.
I like understand the want to be proactive, but like without like directly hearing from these people that they would want these testimonies sealed, it feels like a little, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, like disrespectful, but like not exactly disrespectful, but just like sealing them when they took the time to write them and to like have their voice heard. And like not asking them first if they want them sealed feels a little rude, like just a little bit. Like I understand what we're trying to do, like being proactive, but like these are their words. Yeah.
Request for information.
Yes.
Was anyone who's involved in the creation of this resolution aware of any student wishes based on whether or not their name should be included on it, or whether or not they had any opinions on that?
Are you talking about the people who gave testimonies? So when I originally reached out for testimonies, I did make it aware to all of them that if they wish to make this anonymous, they can. I did also want to let them know that like this, I sent them a copy of the resolution, knowing that what I was fighting for and what was hoping that SGA would fight for as well. So they had that background knowledge, because I didn't want to just like blindside them kind of with them providing a testimony. So when they provided this, I also did let them know that this is going on a resolution, and that like anything that you do provide like will be like made like knowledgeable. I guess in conversations kind of after, I mean, everyone in here knows this, after I had originally submitted it, I did want to change and make these anonymous also, as Senator Meister had pointed out, just like for the privacy of these students and keeping their identities sealed. With that being said, in the original context of the messages, they all were aware that this would be included on a resolution. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Senator John.
Oh,
Oh, no, okay. Is there any further discussion on the resolution?
Point of clarification.
Yes.
So right now we're in a motion to seal the Appendix A, correct?
My understanding, it has not been seconded by anyone.
Okay.
There was no initial motion. It was just a
possibility. Okay.
description based on the discussion. I would articulate that again, the intention is not necessarily to be rude, right? But to create an opportunity for us to be proactive in exercising intentionality in the way that we're approaching documents submitted to student government. There is the potentiality that there are possible downstream implications of submitting testimonial that we could not conceptualize, legal implications, possible permutations of impacts to students that could be very significantly detrimental to them. And I think if we have the opportunity to proactively seal this information with the intention of the resolution being that we could utilize this information to affect change on campus, which at least apparently from the resolution's writing and submission of appendices seemed to be the goal of submitting the resolution and testimonials appended to. I think that would be something proactive that would be in alignment with the organization's values.
Is there any discussion? Senator Meister?
Motion for consideration of sealing the document Appendix A.
Appendix A. Is there a seconded to seal Appendix A? Is that suggesting like striking it? Or what's the difference between that?
Point of information, I guess. Sealing does not in any way delete, alter, or modify the document. The document remains appended to the resolution. It can be open to consideration by anybody within the body. That includes any extension of the student court that would need to review the document for any reason. But it would remain on record with student government, but would just not be utilized in any public explanation of the resolution. So in no way does it modify the words of the individuals who are provided to us in testimonial. In no way does it change their stories. In no way does it strike anything but from the visible public record that somebody could possibly utilize downstream to review the resolution for content.
So it's Appendix A is shown among student government, but not for the public. Okay.
Yes.
Request for information. What is the process like to undo hiding making it private if we then talk to the students and they say they would have preferred to have had it included in there with or without names, however they would prefer? What is the process for putting it back in there should they express that to us?
That could be accomplished for a motion for reconsideration at the next Senate meeting.
Is there a second to, what is it called again?
Motion to seal.
Motion to seal. Is there a second to motion to seal Appendix A? Senator Ryan, seconded by Senator Ryan. Now we're on to a period of discussion to seal Appendix A. Senator Piper?
Okay, I have a question. So
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to like figure out how to word it. The students who gave, or like the people who gave their testimony, they were aware that this could and or would be public information, correct? Or
Director
Oh,
Lexi?
okay, sorry, it was not working. They were made aware that it was going to be put on this resolution.
Another point of information, we're also under the assumption that these are people who would understand that if something is on a resolution, that means that it's still publicly accessible.
Yes.
This is a request for information. Don't we need approval from the author to seal anything on their specific resolution they wrote, or is that incorrect?
It has been submitted to the Student Senate, and it's initially the Student Senate's decision if they want to seal Appendix A. It's the Student Senate's decision.
Point of information.
Yes.
Once a resolution is submitted to the body in whole or in part, like line by line, you can go through a resolution and modify it on the floor. And that can change the intent and scope and purpose of a resolution as well as any of its appendices. As long as it's up for consideration in front of the body, it is modifiable. Again, you try and maintain like the spirit of the author's intentional focus with the project, right? So all of those things should be full consideration within the context of a debate and necessary motions for that debate.
Senator Gomez?
I can understand the concern about, what would happen if people were to find out who these students are. But I personally think that these students somewhat had the idea that this would come out, it would be public, and it also informs the public about ways they can be discriminated against. And I think they need to be educated on what that looks like when it's a student job. I was reading through this earlier today, and I didn't know reducing hours or giving less hours would be a way that a student could be discriminated against, so I think that's really important to keep in there so people people are aware of different ways they can be treated that isn't right on campus.
Senator Brady.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, this can also help students who have been mistreated and did not want to speak up in fear of getting backlash. This could encourage them to speak up more, and which could honestly solidify this resolution more and give it more support to it. So I feel like removing it is very counterproductive and not really helping that encouraging side of it and helping more students speak up, because in itself, this is extremely, I give a lot of props to this student for having the courage to bring this up, because I know it takes a lot of courage, and that will encourage a lot more students to do so. So I feel like removing that is just counterproductive and not really ensuring that solidifying factor of it.
Senator Piper.
Kind of going off of everything that was literally just said once more. I definitely feel like the information that is here is like needed. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's, I don't know. Like, I just don't understand, I guess, of really taking it out and hiding it. I mean, I think if they were aware that this could be public information, then what's the problem with it if they are taking that risk and they're okay with it? In my personal opinion, I mean, I don't know. And I think it, I don't know. I just don't think it would be the best thing, because I think we really need to think too about, like, if we were in their shoes and we put this testimony out there for a reason and then we come back and see that like it's not there, like how does that look on us, of kind of being like, okay, we've seen this, but like no one else is going to see this, is kind of the way I see it. So I think that can kind of damage also just this like resolution as well, kind of coming back from that. So I really think we need to look at it in a long-term perspective as well, especially if they're already here. And I really do think like there's a lot goes with numbers, and like also seeing that there's other people who maybe had like the same situation that happened, that like, okay, like this isn't just me, or like this isn't just an isolated incident, can be very beneficial. So I really don't personally agree with the idea of like taking this out.
Director Lacey.
This is in no way, shape, or form defending we should seal it or we should not. I do also want to make a point, like these weren't the only testimonials. There was 2 testimonials given in open forum, and those are on the YouTube channel. Like, we are not able to remove those from the YouTube. And that, like, that's, I mean, that's just factual. So.
Senator Brady.
I mean, just kind of piggybacking off of everything that was just said, it almost, there's like a silencing factor to it if we do remove it. It just seems like we're trying to like shut out that student voice who did like come out and speak and was very courageous to do this. And it just almost seems like if we remove it, we're silencing that student voice to come out and speak out against the admin who have done her wrong. And so I feel like removing it is not really encouraging student voices, but rather silencing them, which is not what we're here for.
Senator Ringo.
So I'm looking at the good old notice of non-discrimination, anti-harassment, and non-retaliation. You guys know that one sentence, the University of Nebraska does not discriminate based on race, color, ethnicity. Well, if you look at it, it says near the bottom, it says the university prohibits form of retaliation taken against anyone for reporting discrimination, harassment, or retaliation for otherwise engaging in protected activity. So, but again, like, this is all up to the students on whether they want to, you know, seal this or not. So, I mean, we're kind of making, I guess, I don't want to say we're assuming what they want, but I believe this should be up for discussion or up for reconsideration for next Senate meeting. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to like just assume that, you know, just because this is out here and it's for us, and, you know, that, you know, if it does get sealed, that these students are gonna be upset, because that might not even be the case. So just consider. Okay.
Senator Eloxy.
I think did we clarify that like if this resolution is voted on and we do seal it, that we can go back and add those in? Okay. About that, I agree with doing that. And my explanation for that is because I myself have been in a position where multiple times where I've spoken out about something and like advocated, and then there was some kind of retaliation, or I was told that it was dangerous for what I said to be out there and things like that. Like, I want to say that we can feel protected as students and part of any organization, and that admin's words mean this and that this means this, when we know that they've gone completely backwards on things like that. So I think like just for a student to be able to go back and think, okay, hey, do I really want this out there? Do I not? Because maybe they didn't think about it as much as they could have. I have been in so many positions like that where if I could go back, I would, because of retaliation and things like that. Not to put fear in anyone's like feelings or whatever, but yeah, we can always get their opinion on it and then put the testimonials back in.
Senator Hirschman Harding.
I think I agree partially with that, is that idea that I think that they are currently working, from what we've heard, working under the assumption that this is going to be public information. And we've already had testimonies that are going to be public information because they happened during open forum. But I think as long as there is a straightforward way to add it back in retroactively, that doesn't sound like a bad position. I would just request that if we decide we're going to seal this so that we can give them another chance to just like consider how much of that information they'd like to be public, we have that be something that we reach out to them about immediately, so that there is no time in which they could see this resolution without that appendix in it and think that it was our intention to silence them. I know that that's not the intention that we have working with this, but my only request would be if this gets sealed, that we would contact them immediately just to explain why and to have that reconsideration, just so that there isn't the chance for a miscommunication between us and them rather.
Senator Gomez.
I have a request for information. What is the biggest fear we have by keeping this in for those students?
Right. What is our biggest fear for the students?
Yeah, if by keeping this in.
I think the biggest fear would probably just be that some of these people are still students, and some of them are probably might still be student workers or associated with it, or trying to apply for grad school or something like that. So on a technical basis, retaliation, very much against the university policy. So is abusing your workers. So, you know, we know that there are people who are probably not going to adhere to the policies in the way that we would hope for them to, or would do so in such a subtle way that it might cause conflict. Like, I know that I'm not talking about this as a specific, I don't know this situation, but if I were someone who worked in a lab in biomechanics and I was saying that I had a problem with somebody in biomechanics, and the person who runs that lab realized who it was who said it, and they're also who's in charge of approving the graduate students for our School of Biomechanics, it might be that they, on an unofficial basis, just say, oh, I don't think they're qualified. Oh, I don't like their work. But it could be just like a form of retaliation. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm also, you know, I think that these students are well informed and they've chosen to advocate for themselves in this way. But I think just, you know, what we're hearing is sometimes we have that sense of advocacy and don't realize how public it can be. And that's kind of some of the concern that we're working upon, is obviously retaliation, not allowed, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen in subtle ways. And I think that the intention behind what they're doing, whether or not I haven't fully decided whether or not I would like to seal this, but I think the intention is more so to give them more time to be aware of some of that, so that we're not unintentionally putting them at more risk after they've already endured so much.
Senator Brady.
I mean, kind of, I'm trying to gather my thoughts.
I'm so sorry, Senator Brady, you've already spoken twice. I apologize.
It's a request for information. So, and are you responding to his question specifically about retaliation?
Request for information, I'd like to know what Senator Brady has to say.
They're gonna.
Here, you can take it. I think yours done. Right here too.
Oh, everyone has
I mean, I've also just kind of going off of, I mean, yeah, it is a fear that there are current students, but are at risk, and it could pose a lot of not only with risk to their well-being, but risk to a lot of retaliation, having to like outside resources like other students or like other student workers or employees. That could happen very privately, anything along those lines. However, with like just this resolution in general, and as well as this testimony, this also will this will bring light to a lot of the admin, and this will, if more students do come up with the same courage that this student had, because of this testimony, this could also put a lot of pressure on the administration in general. And so I feel like having that pressure on the administration to like, hey, your staff is not acting appropriately or accordingly to what they literally signed to do. It could put pressure on them to like hold their staff more accountable. I mean, ultimately it's just a matter of whether or not it's going to there's going to be that accountability factor in these. So.
I do agree with what has been said so far. I don't know how to word this, but I've been speaking with Director Lacey about this for a while, and he has been going around in circles because admin wants to protect admin. And I do fear that if these testimonies were public, there can be retaliation. And again, admin will protect admin. So I don't know how far admin will go into holding the other administration accountable for their actions. But I do also agree with the fact that these testimonies are necessary to show other students what discrimination looks like, because when I looked at this for the first time, I had no idea. And it does shed light. But again, I'm just going to leave it to the fact that admin does protect admin.
Senator Meister.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who shared your perspectives, because this is a huge part of why student government is here, right? When we bring a question to the floor, the varied perspectives that you all discussed about protecting students, about conceptualizing the student intent while submitting a testimonial, about the potential implications that sealing could have, are all essential conversations for us to have. That was a big part of why I wanted to pose the question. I had received this question from another student that I was sitting with today. They asked, what could the potential implications be if these testimonials were included? So I asked intentionally, what would it look like to seal these testimonials, to see what are our thoughts, what are our perspectives on this, right? Because many of you have very astutely mentioned, these students intentionally develop these testimonials to help inform us about their lived experience here on campus. They helped to enlighten us with real examples, concrete examples of things that are happening on our campus to our students. And that's important, and that absolutely matters, and it has an impact. So whatever your vote is, I just wanted you to say thank you to each of you for sharing your perspective and for bringing that into light so that we could conceptualize, one, the idea of the testimonials, but two, whether or not it's even appropriate to seal them in a better way. Thanks.
Senator Piper.
Okay, this is more so a point of information. Do you know like how quickly, if this were to be sealed, like how quickly would you be able to reach out to these students to let them know like that information?
They've already been texted.
Cute. Okay.
Period.
Thank you. That said, I'm on it.
Coordinator of Irizarry Gums.
Yeah, this is such important information. Basically, if this were to be sealed, would it be sealed also by Chancellor Lee once you read such resolution if it were to pass tonight?
Say that again, please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll say this one. If this document were to be, if Appendix A were to be sealed, would it be sealed also for Chancellor Lee once she receives a resolution if it were to pass tonight?
Well, if it gets sealed, then it's just only for student government. Only student government members can see the testimonies, indicating that the rest of the public will not be able to see the testimonies if it gets passed by the Senate.
So in light of that information, I would like to add that I think it's very important for our chancellor to see these testimonies, because literally how our school is going through and the students are feeling. It's important for her to hear these testimonies, because this is how the students are feeling and the experience of the student workers. Even though this is not very related, but also related to this. So since grad students feel overworked, we have other student works around campus that feel under pressure. In the end, it's important for our chancellor to hear testimonies from student workers and also students that are feeling this pressure in this campus. If we were, I believe we should not seal the testimonies because it is important for our chancellor to see it. If we were to see it tonight, I guess another point of information, when would you receive the resolution?
When,
If it were to pass tonight?
if it will pass tonight, well, it will have to be sent to Regent Adidam first to see if she's gonna sign it or veto it. And then it usually happens on Tuesdays, and then I will inform the Senate. And then if the motion does get approved by the Senate, then I will just, to be honest with you, I'm not sure how to seal it, but I can like ask questions for the SJ advisor to see how I can seal it.
But in the end, if it were to be sealed, then Chancellor Lee would not see the appendix, even if we were to unseal it later for the entire student body. I think it's very important for Chancellor Lee to see these testimonies. So in that regard, I believe that it should not be sealed tonight.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Senator Rye?
Taking into account what was said, is it possible to amend the motion to say that it is visible to Chancellor Lee's eyes?
If she's already seen it, then it has to be the whole process, like giving it back to her again. Like how much longer would that take then on top of that?
Point of order, if I may. So I would say it would be very difficult for it to remain sealed if it's externalized outside of the organization in any fashion. Once it's been shared, we don't have control over the document anymore. So imagine sending it to a single person is unsealing the document, which just can help inform your vote, whatever you may choose to do tonight.
Because did you make an amendment to the motion? No, okay, I was just clarifying. Okay, just asking. Okay, Senator John?
If we just want it to be in like a very official capacity and like efficient, like keeping in mind that sealing it, then unsealing it is like adding weeks onto her seeing the version of it that has this appendix. Just to say that.
Senator Gomez?
I don't want to make assumptions, but I feel like if we do seal it and it gets to Chancellor Lee in some way before we can unseal it, I don't know if she'll necessarily give it the time of day to go look over the resolution she's already read majority of. I don't know. I think this resolution, for how serious these issues are, we need it to be as strong as possible going out. And by sealing it, it weakens it. So that's just kind of what I have to say.
Senator Ringel?
Okay. I feel like we're kind of just going in circles at this point, but with the urgency, I was gonna say to table this until we get further information, but I don't think based on what the urgency of this, I don't think we want to table it. But I know like we're not gonna get direct responses tonight from these students, unless you've gotten,
No, sorry,
yeah, I know, but has he gotten responses? That's my question. Point of information.
No, sorry, I want to speak on something else, so I'll let you finish.
Is it a point of information?
Yeah, like, have you gotten, like,
I have not gotten any responses, so I do apologize.
no, you're totally good.
I think one of the people live outside of this time zone, so we have to factor that in, that it also is a Thursday night, so.
Senator Brady?
I motion to end the discussion regarding the sealing of Appendix A.
So there is a motion to end discussion. And then, okay, is it seconded? Senator Gomez, seconded. Now there's no debate. Now we're on to a period of two-third vote. All those in favor, please raise your placards. It's to end discussion.
Okay, debate. Okay, debate.
End debate.
You seconded it.
No, I know.
I was like, we're at.
And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, in the opinion of the chair. Yeah. Oh, it's 15-0. Right. Really? Oh.
All those in
Maybe-
favor? Is that what we're doing?
1, 2, 3, 4, yes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, can you guys hold it up again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I counted 15. Yeah, I remember. Okay, then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the discussion has ended. So now, since the discussion has ended on the motion, now we're on to a period of voting to seal Appendix A. All those in favor, please raise your placards. 1, 2, 3. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the motion fails. So since that motion has failed, now we're on to just a period of discussion on the entire resolution. Senator Meister?
Again, just reaffirming previous comments on the resolution. I think it's a really beautiful vehicle for affecting change. And again, just wanted to express thank you to y'all for sharing your perspectives on how we best could share this resolution moving forward and just for the encouraging debate. It makes me really happy to be a senator. So thank you.
Is there any other discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting on the entire resolution. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes 15-0. Zero. Okay. So our next item of business is good of the order. Senator Gomez. Senator Benitez has been seconded. Now we're on to a period of voting, our period of discussion. If there's no Senator Hirschman Hardy.
Let Kevin have this. Come on, man.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Okay, all those opposed, please raise your placards. I do not. Oh, approve. Wait. In favor. All those in favor, please raise your placards. I cannot tell.
Wow, not the peer pressure. Crazy.
8. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards.
Gotta get one.
6.
Everybody put it in the motion failed.
It fails. It fails. Okay. In the opinion of the chair, the motion fails.
Yes.
Okay. Good of the order. What are you looking forward to for Thanksgiving break? For me, I love stuffing with mashed potatoes and gravy. So yeah. Chloe, what is your Thanksgiving?
Sleeping, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, me too, honestly. I need a break.
Then Teresa.
Spending time with family.
No, you're so good.
Seeing my grandma.
Oh, Anthony.
Napping, specifically napping. I don't sleep, I just nap.
Drew.
I'm excited to see family. It's been like 2.5 months.
Brian. Nazarin.
Just sleeping in.
Natalia.
Family. Seeing my baby cousin.
Your cousins. Gabriella.
Probably family as well. Sleep
Family,
though,
okay.
would be pretty nice.
They catching up with the family lore, my sister.
Not turkey, but mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Ellie. Dude, Ellie. Sleeping.
Having some days off. I'm ready to munch. Oh, okay. I got my baby niece this cute little turkey day outfit, and I'm so excited to see her in it. Oh, she's a potato. She.
Hey, let Jill have this moment. Oh, Fernando, sleep, and then Hannah is,
Meeting the new kitty my mommy just got.
and then Sierra.
Eating.
And then- Now, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Senator Benitez, is there a seconded? Senator Valladares, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the meeting has been adjourned.
I am also looking to the Wicked movie.
And am I going?
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday next week. I keep seeing sneak peeks of it, like we're very joking about it out there, and I'm like, stop.
Yeah, I know, stop. Now. See you tomorrow.
Solution.
If there's.
I added this.
Oh, there. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Actually, I'll kill him. Yeah, with my suit.
Is there a hole?
I'm getting You said I'm supposed to. Okay, I'm gonna go get a snack.
He canceled.
Yeah, and he, oh, I did. Or else that way.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Oh my God, Tyra takes so disrespectful and dinner.
I'm bending over for you.
You're not. Yeah, I just read it.